What's up, everyone? Welcome to the NASCAR All-Star Race Top 5 DFS Picks video for Sunday, May 22nd at Texas Motor Speedway. As always, I'm your host, Chris Pennell. You can find me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16, and this video is presented by PrizePicks. In today's video, we are going over general track strategy, how to approach this site from staying up to date on what happens on the track on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. Will be very beneficial to you in creating fantasy NASCAR lineups this weekend, especially since we have the NASCAR Open race, which is going to be 4 drivers that advance to the All-Star race on Sunday evening. So making sure you're staying up to date on who actually makes the All-Star race will be very important to you. And if you want to stay up to date on that info and analysis, you can find me and Jason on the Awesemo Live Before Lock show on Sunday evening, breaking down the entire slate, answering any questions you may end up having. And as far as how we should approach this slate from a DFS perspective, it's not going to be that easy this weekend. This is not your normal race weekend. This is the NASCAR All-Star race. We have gimmicks to deal with. We have pit stop competitions. We have 4 stages and only 125 laps. So dominator points aren't going to be that important this weekend, but you're still going to want some guys that are able to lead some laps. So for me personally, I'm just kind of relying on who's going to be fast in practice and who's been fast at similar track types this season, because there is nothing really else we can compare this to. We are at a 1.5 mile track in Texas that is low wear. Kansas last weekend is at least a decent track that you can compare to, but that does have a little bit more tire wear. You can look at Las Vegas earlier in the season, but again, that has a little bit more tire wear than Texas. But just looking at drivers who've been fast at the 1.5 miles or intermediate tracks this season is something I am certainly looking to do, because we cannot really draw too many similarities from what we've been at this season, because a lot of the tracks that we've been at that are intermediates have had some decent tire wear, like Auto Club, Las Vegas, and Kansas. We've been at Dover, but that's more of a shorter track that does have some higher tire wear. But just looking at drivers that are fast at the intermediates, fast in practice, is something that I'm definitely going to be doing this weekend. And moving on to the picks, we will start with number 5, and we have Kurt Busch, $7,000 on DraftKings, up to $8,000 over on FanDuel. Liked him last weekend at Kansas, ended up balling out nearly 110 DraftKings points, ended up winning the race. And unfortunately, we do not have the cool Jordan paint scheme this weekend, but I'm still liking Kurt Busch quite a bit because I think he's a bit underpriced. And I feel like with whatever he did last weekend, a lot of people are going to go right back to the well with Kurt Busch because of this cheap price point. But I get it. He's very good at Texas, has an average finish inside the top 10 here, 5 top 10s the past 6 races at Texas Motor Speedway. Obviously won the race last weekend at Kansas. And if you're looking at his numbers for 2022, had some bad luck races, but overall is still a pretty solid season with 2 top 5s and 4 top 10 finishes. And obviously last weekend, going to boost up those dominator points average after he absolutely crushed it and passed Kyle Larson for the win at the very end last weekend. But I'm liking the price point. I'm liking the Toyotas quite a bit once again, as they've shown a lot of speed so far as the season has progressed. And I don't really think that's going to go away here. So I'm going to buy low once again on Kurt Busch, even though people are probably going to hop on the train this weekend. And moving on to number 4, we have another Toyota here, Christopher Bell, $7,500 on DraftKings, up to $9,000 over on FanDuel. But I'm loving this price point over on DK. You're getting a pretty nice discount. As far as his Vegas odds are concerned, they're on par with guys like Ross Chastain, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, and he's not really priced as high as them. So I think we are getting a decent bang for your buck here. And like I said, I'm going to be pretty heavily invested in the JGR cars going forward. Finished 5th last weekend at Kansas, had a very fast car, finished 10th at Las Vegas, 36th at Auto Club, but if you're dating back to last year at similar tracks, 8th at Kansas, 3rd at Texas, and I'm thinking Christopher Bell at this price point is definitely going to be a steal. He's had a good season so far with 5 top 10s and 2 top 5s, and like I said, big fan of the JGR cars this weekend. And moving on to number 3, I feel like I'm doing you a disservice if I don't mention Ross Chastain each and every single weekend with how good he's been so far this year. But he's only $8,600 on DraftKings, which seems like an absolute steal. I realize the pricing is overall low this weekend because of the lack of the laps, and it's the All-Star race, so there's going to be quite a bit of randomness. But it's going to be hard not to have a lot of Ross Chastain at a mid-8K price point, $11,000 over on FanDuel, but he's been arguably the best driver, at least one of the best drivers so far this season, close to 50 DraftKings points per race. Has 4 top 5s, 5 top 10s, a good chunk of fast laps and laps led. I realize he's not part of that Toyota crew that I'm really relying on heavily this weekend, but Chastain has had a ton of speed so far this year. And I would not mind seeing the Watermelon Man take home $1 million and smashing a watermelon at the end of the day. And I don't think NASCAR would mind that either, but definitely a big fan of Chastain once again this weekend, and I'm going to be a big fan of him pretty much each and every single week going forward. And before we get into our next pick, I want to talk about our sponsor, PrizePicks. They offer daily prop-based contests You can use promo code Awesemo for a $100 first match deposit bonus. There is no sharks, optimizers, or mass entries. 5-player lineups can add up to 10 times your entry fee. Use your knowledge of multiple sports with cross-sport entries. Download in the App Store, on Google Play, or play over on PrizePicks.com. You can use our free player prop tools to help you make the best selections. You can get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum when you sign up and make a deposit over at PrizePicks. You will receive your email within 24 to 48 hours after to redeem your free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. And moving on to number 2, we have Denny Hamlin, $9,200 on DraftKings, only $10,500 over on FanDuel. You're getting a really nice price point on both sites. And the thing with Denny Hamlin that's been the case all season long is that he just has a ton of bad luck. And I know he finished well last weekend, got a top 5, but he still had a ton of bad luck in that race. Ended up having 3 or 4 penalties on pit road, which kept putting him in the back. He started the race in the back after he had to drop to the rear. He ripped through the field just about 3 or 4 times. He had one of the best cars in the field, and I think if he had clean air at some point, he would have been able to dominate this race quite easily. So I'm thinking that speed shows up once again this weekend at Texas Motor Speedway, but only 2 top 5s on the season, but still has a good chunk of dominator points. The bad luck is just completely just taken over Denny Hamlin's season, but finally got a top 5, overcame some bad luck last weekend, and if he can just have an incident-free race or no penalties, Denny Hamlin is going to dominate a race and win quite soon. And finally, my number 1 play for the NASCAR All-Star Race at Texas Motor Speedway. It's no other than another JGR car. It's Kyle Busch, $9,500 on DraftKings, $12,500 over on FanDuel. And he's having a fantastic season so far. He was really fast at intermediates last season, looking like he's going to be one of the best cars this year at them once again. And he has really good numbers at Texas. He is a recent track winner here, 5 top 10s, 2 top 5s, a good chunk of dominator points. And if you're looking at his numbers so far this year, he doesn't have the top 5s to really show for. I had one last weekend at Texas and was also first in average green flag speed at Kansas, I should say. But he also has the most top 10s in the entire series with 6 so far this season. Some of the most fast laps, some of the most laps led, nearly 50 DraftKings points per race, and the second best average finish of the data set that I'm using at normal tracks this year, excluding road courses and super speedways. So I'm going to buy in on the speed once again. I think he should be the most expensive driver on the slate, and the fact that he's not does scream a little bit of value to me as of right now. He's got the second best odds to win this race, tied with Chase Elliott, only behind Kyle Larson, but I personally think those should be switched. I still think Kyle Larson is getting juiced up from what he did last season. I know he's been solid so far this year, but he has not had the fastest car in just about every single race so far this season. So once again, buying it on JGR, and Kyle Busch is going to lead the stable for me. So just to recap, at number 5, we have Kurt Busch. Number 4, Christopher Bell. Number 3, Ross Chastain. Number 2, Denny Hamlin. And number 1, Kyle Busch. And all these guys are either part of Toyota or have been very fast so far this season. I think that continues here at Texas. So if you did end up enjoying today's free content, make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and make sure to leave a comment down below agreeing or disagreeing with any of the takes I had throughout today's videos. We love to hear your opinions over on Awesemo. You can also follow us over on Sunday for the Live Before Lock show, where me and Jason will break down the entire slate post-qualifying and practice, and we'll answer any questions you may end up having. But with that being said, I wish you all the best of luck, and I'm looking forward to the All-Star race this weekend. It just should be a bit of a change of pace and should be pretty fun to watch.